Hello everyone, welcome to the course Become a Project Manager in 5 Days or Learn Project Management in 5 Days. The course is designed by Analyst School. We are experts in business analysis and project management training and consulting. This course is for people who are either students or are trying to get into this field of project management, and you may have an overwhelming question in your mind: how do I become a project manager? Through this course, we're going to show you how to get to where you want to go, how to learn project management, how to learn some of the effective techniques of project management. For people who are already experienced project managers can also utilize this course to understand how to better manage their resources, how to multitask with different projects, multiple projects, wearing different hats, and how can you keep your project team happy. This course is divided into 5 different lessons. The first one will start with the project management basics. In this, we are going to talk about some of the basic aspects of project management, like what is a project versus what is a program, what is a project life cycle, what are the different kinds of organization structures, and what are different project management process groups. Now, with there are so many companies with many projects, but not the right kind of project managers. Managing a project is consistently effective and requires experience, knowledge, and expertise in handling the various aspects of the project. Where there are various kinds of guidelines and techniques that must be followed, and it should be followed in the right framework so that our projects are successful. Now, before a project manager tries to initiate something, we have to make sure that some of the basic terminology that gets associated with this industry is clear to all of us. Like, for example, a project versus a program versus a portfolio, the life cycles, the structures, how can we, based on the different kinds of organization structure, how can we manage our project successfully. And of course, the different project management process groups like initiation phase, planning phase, execution phase, monitoring phase, controlling, and closing phases. So different kinds of phases, how can we really manage them well? So in the first class, we will learn about these basics of project management, and we will understand the terminologies associated with project management professionals. The second class will talk about the project initiation and planning phase. The initiation phase is something where the business cases are being approved, and that's the beginning of a project. So what exactly is a business case? How do a business case get submitted? Who does it get submitted to? It gets submitted to a portfolio management team. Then portfolio management team, how do they review these business cases and only approve few of them that gets to become our projects? So what are some of the ranking criteria that they use? So we will learn all these different things in the initiation phase. We will also talk about some of the high level scoping that needs to be done once a business case is being approved and a project manager is being assigned. The project manager has to establish the budget of the project, so he has to establish the return of investment, the net present value. He also has to create a project charter. So what exactly is a project charter? What are the components of the project charter? What goes in it? What kind of information is the right information that should reside in a project charter? During the initiation phases, these different activities have to be completed, and we will learn these activities during a second class of project initiation and planning phase. The second class will also talk about the planning phase, wherein we will talk about how do we establish the objectives of a project, how do we define the course of action, how do we create a project management plan. Now, a project management plan consists of different kinds of plans. It's not just about the timing, the scoping, or the cost of a project. It has a lot of different components to it. For example, the communication, the resources to it, the risk associated with the projects. So what are some of those different kinds of components of a project management plan, and how as a project manager you can successfully define the course of action for your team? Now, one thing to remember is that you're not going to do these activities by yourself. You're going to get help from your team members. So we will talk a little bit about that as well. How do you in the initiation phase or the planning phase identify the right people from different project team to help you with the project management planning? Then you also try to create a plan for how are we going to execute on the project, how are we going to monitor and control the project, and towards the end, once the project is completed, how are we going to close the project. These are the different things that goes in the planning phase. Now, as I said, we need to talk about the resources, we need to decide upon the deadlines of the projects, we have some schedules, we have some budgets of the projects. So those are the things that get decided during this initiation and the planning phase of the project. The third class will focus on the project execution phase. A project team is finally built. By this stage, the project manager knows about the budget that we are being given for the project. The project manager assigns the resources, so a lot of hiring goes into it. And the various layers of the project, the hiring is being done. That marks the beginning of the project. So how do we actually execute on the project? The actual work is being done during this phase. We have to follow the processes, and when I say we, it is not the project manager. We, all of us as the team, have to follow the processes and the procedures that we initially laid in our project management plan. Now once the team starts doing the actual activities, the project manager job is to plan those activities and track the progress of the project too. So if something that is not going right in the project manager has to figure out what is going wrong and how can we get back on track. Communication is the key here. So we're going to talk about the communication component too. How do we effectively communicate our objectives to the project team, and on a regular basis, how do we meet as a team and make sure the work is being done right on time, right on scope, right on the budget that we decided. So project execution will talk about these different phases of execution when the work is being carried on by the team members. The fourth class will focus on the monitor and control phase of the project. What does a project controlling means? As a project manager, you have to keep an eye on all the workings of the project. We have to know all the details related to the project. We have to watch an overall progress of the projects. So how are you monitoring? How are you baselining your cost, your schedule? So we have to create a cost and a schedule baseline. So we will learn what does these terms means. How do you track? How do you make sure you review? And then once you know something has fallen off the track, how do we regulate the project progress? Once you know your course of action, then how do you identify the changes to the project management plan and feed it back to the different phases, may it be an initiation phase or the execution phase. So monitoring and controlling is another aspect of the project which needs a lot of attention from a project manager's side. We will learn some of the good techniques that you should follow to effectively monitor and control the project. Towards the last class, we will learn about project closure. At this stage, the project manager coordinates with all the departments of the project to get the final result. So your project is finally at the end stage, and hopefully you have achieved all the objectives, right? That's the goal there. Now, once your objectives are achieved, that doesn't mean it's the end. You just, leave the things and go your own way. No, you as a project manager have other responsibilities like lesson learns. What are some of the things that we really learned from this project? You have to keep the records and the archive for later projects that may come or that can be used by the company. You have to have some closure activities done as well, including the celebrations, and do not forget to acknowledge your team members, and if there is a reward in place for best performance or a star performance, those are the things that are done towards this closure activity phase. So these are the 5 different things that we are going to learn during this course of the project. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that this course is not a PMP preparation or a CAPM preparation course, but definitely it is aligned with all the guidelines of the PMI, and we're going to learn all the good processes and techniques which are being led by the PMI organization. Welcome to this course. We are looking forward to take you to our next class, and let's move to our next class from here. Thank you.